My camera died, so I missed some steps. But basically, what I did was I cut out these plates to go on the back side of the windshield, sandwiching the rubber washers up against the acrylic. And then I was going to try to make some kind of adjustable system where you could move it up and down and change the angle and all that kind of stuff. But it's such a short distance between the handlebars and where I want the windshield that it wouldn't be practical. So I just cut these rods. I'm going to try to position them so that they can be pretty much straight, but I might have to put some bends in it. And then for the handlebar clamps, what I did was I took some 3/4 inch pipe, cut it 1.5 inches long, and then I sliced it in half lengthways. And I'm going to weld on two nuts. One of them is going to be drilled out so the threads are gone, and then the other one will have the threads. And then that way I can put in an Allen screw, and the slick nut will let it just slide on through, and then the one with the threads will tighten it down. Um, and I'll do that on each side for All right, that was kind of a nightmare. The first bolts that I chose for making my clamps were a little bit too small, and I melted right through them, and I had to start over. These are the clamps. They're kind of rough right now. I've got some vinyl tape between the clamp and the handlebar just to protect the paint on the handlebar right now. I'm gonna, when I finish these out, I'm gonna paint them and then probably get some rubber sleeves to put in there to protect the handlebars. But basically, I've got the two clamps and bars mounted, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the angle of the plates that attach to the windscreen right here, to get the position of the windscreen right so that it's not too flat or too vertical. And once I get that angle, then I'll take these back off and then I'll weld the plate to this end here. I am absolutely amazed that I got this mount to work. It seemed pretty straightforward. It seemed pretty simple when I came up with the idea, but the precision that I had to make the welds at while supporting it by hand only um, was a little bit more than I bargained for. There's so many different angles. If you look at this clamp in relation to this plate, you'll notice that the clamp is probably twisted at about a 40. If you imagine that the plate is the reference point as far as being straight and vertical, then the clamp is about a 45-degree angle from that. But then if you look at the rod going from the clamp to the plate, it doesn't come straight off. I measured the angle and it was about a 70-degree decline instead of a straight 90 coming off the plate. And then it was also about 75 degrees canted to the side instead of being straight onto the plate. And there was no other way for me to do it but just to hold it by hand and tack it in place and then bend it little bit by little bit and then just weld it up. And honestly, when I finished welding those plates to those rods, I thought there was no way that this thing was going to fit, but it looks like it's pretty centered. And I don't have a GoPro. I wish I did. So I'm just going to go take it for a ride. I'm going to go slow it first and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't shatter into a million pieces and hit me in the face. But if it holds up, I'm absolutely pleased with how it turned out. I still have to do some finishing to it if it works out. I need to smooth out the edges a little bit on the plexiglass with a sander, and then of course I need to paint the steel and then rubber coat the inside of it so it doesn't mess up my handlebars. But I'm going to take it for a ride and see how it holds up. It worked so well. When I was sitting upright, I couldn't feel any wind on my chest. I could just hear a little bit of wind noise at the top of my helmet. If I leaned in and crouched just a little bit, even the wind noise disappeared. I didn't do anything too crazy because it's still in the break-in period and I can't ride too fast, but I got it on the highway and I got up to 80 miles an hour and I didn't have any vibration and I didn't have any movement. The mount stayed nice and solid. It didn't rotate or tilt or anything like that. So I'm very, very, very happy.